Hello. Welcome to piano. I am so excited because we are learning a super fun classic rock and roll song today, Rock Around the Clock. And it is in your Level 1 Greatest Hits book by Alfred. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. Before we get started though, if you can like and share this video, you know that helps me. There's tons of people out in like the interwebs that are looking for a teacher just like me. And if you're able to share what I do with your networks, I might just be the right teacher that they're looking for. So go ahead and do that for me. Next, if you don't mind subscribing is the easiest thing that you can do here to this channel and help support it. All of those metrics that I see every single week help me understand what is working on this channel and what is not working. So go ahead and subscribe. Next, we operate on a Discord server. So Discord is like our own private social little network where I divide everyone up into their class channels, and you get to share your class videos and practice videos on different songs, and you get feedback from me, right? So we talk about your fingers, we talk about how everything is going in your song, right? If you need extra help or have questions, that's the place to ask. So go ahead and hop onto our server. We would love to have you there. And finally, I am on Patreon, right? So this is how I can sustain what I do here, right? All of my patrons are the most important people here because they're the ones that keep this channel running. If you've got a few extra dollars every month that you want to help keep this channel running and the classes going, go ahead and join as a patron. I have different tiers from $5 a month up to $20 a month to help bring these lessons to everybody that we possibly can across the internet. So thank you so much for considering that. All right, my friends, it's time to get started. So go ahead and open your book to page 16. We are working on Rock Around the Clock, all right? In your adult basic piano library greatest hits book. Level 1. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. Rock Around the Clock is such a fun song. There are many different ways to approach this song. What you see on the paper here is probably the most basic version of the song in general, but we, towards the end of this lesson, are going to learn how to embellish this song, give it a little bit more personality, just to make it feel more special of a song, because when you play this for somebody, they are going to be so impressed with you. All right, so on page 16 and 17, you'll notice, first thing, the key signature. I see in my key signature we have 1 sharp, okay? That sharp is an F sharp, okay? Let's see what key it's actually in. We're gonna play the first note. I see a G. And then the very last note of the whole song, low, low, low G. So we must be in G major, okay? When we have 1 sharp and we see that the first note is a G and the last note is a G, we must be in G major for this song, okay? Now, another key signature that has an F sharp in it would be E minor, okay? E minor. Notice we don't actually have any E, G, B chords in this song at the beginning or at the end. So that's how we would determine that it's in G major instead of E minor, okay? Awesome, very good on that. We notice that the actual first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 measures are an introduction, okay? That introduction, for the most part, is going to be chord building in the right hand, okay? So if you recall how this song begins, it starts with the naming of the numbers on the face of a clock, right? 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. So we're gonna be doing that here at the piano, okay? We're starting on a right hand finger, 1 G. And we're building those chords up, okay? Our left hand will be in a low G position, playing the 5th, okay, the interval of 5th. G and D together, accented and staccato. So very, very short. Let's switch to piano view so we can work out this introduction, okay? All right. So looking here at Rock Around the Clock, the introduction. We are in 4/4 time, forte. Our right hand finger 1 is on that G above middle C, and our left hand is on the G below bass clef C. We have our pinky on that one and our thumb on the D. I'm going to count off very slowly, and I want to see how you can play along to this rhythm. Now, we're not going to be injecting any of that extra lilt or unevenness in those eighth notes just yet. We're going to play exactly what's on the page. It might feel a little robotic, but that's okay. Once we are comfortable with those notes, then we'll inject a little bit of that unevenness, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. G, 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 G. Left hand. Third. Triad. D, 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 D octave. D, D octave. D, 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 D. D, D. And we're stopping right there at the end of measure 8. Okay, so you see what I did there? It's chord building in the right hand. We start with the G, then we have the third, then we have the fifth above that to make a G triad. And then we do a series of octave Ds with a dotted quarter note, eighth note rhythm to really, really set the tone of this really cool song, okay? Let's try the introduction one more time, okay? I'm not gonna really say a whole lot this time. See if you can follow along with your pencil or even just your right hand to get that rhythm just right, okay? Let's give it a try. Okay, so looking here, we are in our G position. In our left hand, we're at low pinky G, and our right hand, we have finger 1 on G above middle C. Double check that position, then we can get started. 1, 2, ready, play. Stop there. There is that cool introduction. Wonderful job on that, okay? Now, as we're moving on in this song, you're going to notice a few things, okay? We have a very, very common pattern going on in the left hand once we start the verse, okay? This starts at measure 9, okay? So measure 9 through measure 20 is all of verse 1, and we're going to work on that. Left hand to begin. We have something called a walking bass, okay? The walking bass is a very common pattern, like I talked about, where it's outlining melodically a chord, but it's sort of walking up and then walking back down. This is happening underneath the actual melody in the right hand, okay? We will dive right into that here at measure 9. We have 4 measures of a walking bass pattern, and then we have another walking bass pattern here beginning at measure 13, but it's a more harmonically driven pattern, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, okay? So let's switch back to piano view, starting at measure 9, left hand only. Let's figure out what these walking bass notes are going to be, okay? All right, let's do it. So walking bass. We are ending down here in that G position, okay? We just got done playing a bunch of Ds. Now we're back down here at a finger 5 on G, But then they have us stretching our finger forward to the B. So you're going to actually stretch up a little bit. Might be a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. Do your best to curve those fingers, okay? Starting at measure 9, I will go through and say some note names. And watch carefully what I do with my fingers, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. G, B, D, E, crossover, F, E, D, B, G, B, D, E, crossover, F, E, D, rest. Shift your hand up to C position, 5th, 6th with the B flat, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th B flat, rest, down to G position, G, 6th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th, rest, shift off one note, A and G, rest, again, rest, single note D, rest, D, rest, now walking bass, G, B, C, C sharp D, hold, 2 staccato D, rest. And then there's that repeat sign back to measure 9, okay? That's where you repeat and go back to the second verse, okay? Now, that was a lot of notes in the left hand, okay? Let's make a note of those position changes, okay? We started measure 9, 10, 11, and 12 in our G position. At measure 13, I want you to write C position at the bottom there because we've shifted our hand up to a bass clef C, okay? And then at measure 15, we're back in a G position. So write G position there. Excellent. Now at measure 17, we're shifting up one note to reach that 7th. So we have an A on the bottom and a G on top. So go ahead and write A and G. A and G. Okay. Then we're back to a G position at measure 18. I know this because I see a finger 1 thumb on my bass clef D. Okay, so that's back to G position. I'm going to write that there. Excellent. All right, does that all make sense? Let me go over it again once more. Measure 9, G position. Measure 13, C position. Measure 15, G position. Measure 17, shift up one note to pinky on A. And then measure 18 back to G position with your finger 1 on D, okay? Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here, okay? Let's play through that left-hand section on the verse once more, okay? I'm not going to say a whole lot this time. Use those ears, okay? Use those ears. All right, let's give it a good try. Starting here at G position, measure 9, left hand pinky on G, and then I've stretched up my finger 4 on B. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. Rest. 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 First ending. Rest. Nice work, okay? Now you'll notice when I say first ending, that's that line, the third line of the second page of the song, the last two measures. You see it has a 1 with a long line going across those two measures. It actually says 1 through 4. So if you can imagine playing this song in its entirety, you would be playing that whole section, measures 9 through 20, 4 times for each verse, right? So 4 times, 1 time for each verse. That's what I meant to say. You're not going to play it, oh gosh, like 16 times. That'd be terrible. You will be playing it 4 times through, right? Now, if you want to shorten it, that's perfectly fine. You can play it maybe twice through, and then when you're ready, you hop to the second ending, or what they call here the 5th ending, because, you know, it's on the very final line of the song from measure 21 to 22, okay? So looking just at that section there, we're going to learn the left-hand part here because it's slightly different than the 1st through 4th ending, okay? So look at page 17, the bottom line at measure 21. We're going to start there with the left hand, okay? You got this. All right, let's do it. So starting at 21, we have already left at measure 18 our finger 1 thumb on the D in the bass clef, okay? That's already leading us to that pinky finger 5 on G. And that's what we're doing. It's very similar. We have a G, B, C, C sharp, D, tie. Then we go down the 5th to G and then down an octave to G, okay? Let's see what that sounds like. 1, 2, ready, play. G, B, C, C sharp, D, hold, 2, G, G. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It's very fun to be able to play nice, big, strong octaves like that, okay? Now, as you bump the tempo up, it'll start feeling a lot more exciting as you're going through this, okay? You just learned the left-hand section of this entire song. That's so, so good, okay? Because the left hand is the foundation of the song. If you didn't have that walking bass at the bottom here supporting the melody, it just wouldn't sound the same, okay? So that's why I started with the left hand this time. Now, let's switch over to the right hand and learn that melody. We're starting at measure 9 again, okay? And we will begin in a very interesting finger on our G, okay? Let's switch to piano view. Okay, at measure 9, this is on the 3rd line, 2nd measure, I've got a finger 2 on my G. Why do I have a finger 2 on the G? Well, because it looks like I'm going to be having to stretch down all the way to this D down here, okay? So let's see how this one goes. I will say my note names and pay close attention to the rhythm, okay? There's some syncopation in here and some ties that we need to be aware of, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. G, B, D, D, G, B, D, hold. D, D, G, B, D, E, D, F, E, D, hold. G, A, G, 3rd, 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 G, 3rd, 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 tie. G, A, G, B, natural. 3rd, 3rd, G, G, A, G, good. C, C, 3rd, D, 6th, C, G flat and B flat, hold. G, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. B7, D, D, and then it repeats back to measure 9. Now let's go over measure 16 to the end of the first ending, because that section right there, there's a lot of accidentals happening. I want to make sure we're getting them just right, okay? Because it can really make the difference in the song if we have the correct notes versus some other notes that may not be actually in the song. Okay, let's switch back to piano view. Now, looking at 16, we're beginning here with a B and a D third, okay? Down parallel to C and A, tie, G and B, tie, G, A, and C, 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 A, and C, D, 6 with F sharp, C, G flat and D, G, G, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and rest, F sharp, C, D. And then it repeats back, right? Yeah, so I just decided to keep going because I want you to hear it. Yeah, so that section there is really, really fun. Take it slowly, okay? The syncopation is probably going to be the trickiest part of this song, just because you want to make sure it's got that like rock and roll feel to it and a little bit less robotic. When we get into making it a little more special at the end of this lesson, you can give yourself a little bit more freedom with that rhythm, okay? All right, so double checking those notes. Let's see. First, look at measure 12. Okay, measure 12 in the right hand. The very first note we have is an F natural. Okay, I'm going to circle that. The F natural is important because our key signature is telling us we actually have an F sharp. But because of the natural sign, the sharp is gone. It's just a regular old F, okay? Circle that one. Now looking at measure 13, the very first third, we have a B flat and a D in the right hand. Circle that one. Don't forget that B flat on the bottom, okay? That's important. And then you'll notice the third interval where it says round of around, that's actually a B flat as well. So draw in another B flat there and circle that one. All right, let me show you what I'm doing here. You see them? Good, okay. Moving on, the top of page 17, we have at measure 14, another B flat and D, okay? Circle that one. And then the word tonight, the night part, also has a B flat. So draw in a flat sign and circle. Notice it's tied. Okay, it's tied to another eighth note. Now at measure 15, you have a natural sign, a B natural. So give that a circle. And then down here at measure 17, the final interval, the interval of a sixth, that has an F sharp on the bottom of around. That needs the sharp there. There's no natural. So go ahead and draw a sharp and circle it. I'll show you what that looks like too. Good. Now from there, measure 18. We already know that that F sharp is tied from the measure before it. But then you have a really funky looking third with a G flat and a B flat. Yes, the G flat and B flat sounds a little funny like that, right? The G flat is actually the same note that you would play as an F sharp. It's just, you know, we talk about enharmonics sometime. It depends on the direction we're going. since we are coming from the top, G, B, we're gonna flat it. So we're moving to the left. So go ahead and circle that G flat, B flat. And then you've got your next G natural, on tonight, okay? Now in the first ending, we also have one of those seventh chords. We have an F sharp, I'll circle those so you can see those as well. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna hop to the last ending here, the final line. And notice we have a G whole note that's tied from before. But the final measure of the whole song, you have a rest, D, F sharp, and A sharp, and then up a third to G and B. Sounds a little like that. Let me switch to piano view so you can see that. So measure 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. D, G, F sharp, and A sharp, and then G and B. Yeah, so go ahead and make sure that you've got that. A sharp and F sharp is actually the same as a G flat and a B flat. Again, it's the direction you're going. In this case, you're going up from F and A. There's F and A. Up. Whereas before, we were at a G and B and going down. So that's why it was written differently than it was before. Okay? Very nice. Okay. Here's the song, Rock Around the Clock. Now, I'm going to play this just 2 times through, only because I want to be able to show you how to embellish this a little bit more to make it more special, okay? I'm going to play it straight rhythm this first time through, and then on the second verse, I'll give it a little bit of that lilt, okay? That unevenness in those 8th notes, okay? You ready? All right. Here we go. Yeah, so that's actually quite fun to play. You'll notice that, again, when I went back and did the second verse, that's when I added that little extra lilt, the little unevenness in the 8th notes. So just remember this pattern if you want to try it uneven. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, right? Right? Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, long, short, long, short, long, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Yeah. So it's this pattern that you want to keep going with, that long, short, long, short, long, short, right? That really gives some extra flavor to the syncopated notes in here that you do encounter, okay? Now that's a difficult thing to do in this song, okay? If you're not getting it with the unevenness, that's okay, all right? You need to make sure that you understand totally how to do it with the straight rhythm first before you attempt something like that, okay? Now, added stuff to make it special. I added something called a glissando at the end of the second ending, or the fifth ending actually. It says the bottom of 17, last line. And I put the right hand up an octave, 8 VA, and I glissando, which is a really fun thing to do. Right? Basically, you take your thumb on G, and then you use your thumbnail and you go all the way down to the low G. Okay? Now, how you do that in practice is just making sure you've got the introductory notes correct. D, thumb, right? And you end on the G down below, okay? Let me show you that in piano view. So let me start just at measure 21 so you can hear this. 1, 2, ready, play. And as you go down, as soon as you get to this G here, you'll play the bottom one as well, right? 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 So that's kind of the idea of adding a little bit of extra flavor to this song, okay? Now, this is a fun song to learn, a fun song to play. A little bit trickier, okay? So give yourself that time to really, really go in and learn those elements that make this song work, okay? The walking bass, it's imperative, right? Also the accidentals, you don't want to miss those sharps and flats that they have written in here, okay? And once you're ready to start injecting that little unevenness in the eighth notes, give yourself that time to really, really finesse it, okay? At the very end, give yourself a little cherry on top and add in that glissando at the very, very end, okay? I think you'll have fun with it. I certainly did. It's a lot of fun to teach. So have a great time learning this one. I'll see you all on Discord, okay? Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, join as a patron to keep these lessons coming every single week. I post new lessons every week here on my channel. So I'd love to have you supporting me on a monthly basis, okay? Well, get to good practice in, okay? And I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye.